everybody, welcome back. So today, part two, we're going to continue talking about law of assumption. I have a couple more points to go over. So another thing that people need to change when it comes to consciously manifesting the life that they want is thinking you can fail. The thing is, failure doesn't even really exist unless you believe it does. And I just mean that to say, no matter the circumstances, no matter what you see yourself going through at this present moment, anything can be turned around into something positive or something for your benefit. Even if at a minimum it was just to help you clarify more of what you want, help you learn to have the confidence to decide and choose what you want and realize that it's even a possibility, that's still something to start with. And I know you don't really want to hear that. You just want to have the solution to your problem. But the fact that you consider whatever it is you're going through a problem, a limitation, something holding you back, that's the only reason it still presents itself that way. Because you can't be in the energy of a problem and receive the solution to it at the same time. So you literally just have to make a decision like, okay, this is not a hindrance anymore. This is not a limitation. And this is something I learned from. And if you really learned a lesson, then you wouldn't be repeating it, even if that's just telling a different story of how things are for you, at least until things catch up and physically change. So just get into that mindset that everything is a success for you, even if it's teaching you to be more conscious of your emotions, where you put your attention and focus. That's still something that you needed to change within your self-concept to step into the successful version of you. So I don't consider that a failure anymore, at least. I'm still reacting to things from time to time, but overall I realize I have to stop seeing things as issues so that they no longer have that effect in my life. Believing you need to know the how is another thing. I've mentioned this different times before. You don't need to know the how, even though you can manifest specifically how something happens. It's not necessary. So that's not a limitation. A lot of people get hung up on, I can't even believe how this could possibly change, but it doesn't matter. You don't need to. You just need to stick to the outcome that you desire and allow things to unfold. And then in hindsight, you'll be able to look back and see how the dots were all connected. Um, Present conditions are holding you back. Nothing's in your way. It doesn't matter how impossible things seem. You can turn around any situation. You can overcome anything. And you'll realize it wasn't really anything to overcome except the belief in yourself, or the belief that anything could even harm you, distract you, cause you to feel weak or disempowered. It's really just a state of mind. It's a perspective that you need to change. Assuming that if nothing is happening and you don't see movement, or just the idea of needing to see movement. Now, I realized I had a bad habit of this because I would continuously be looking around or trying to judge things and see like how things are connected, and that would be to my detriment because it really kept me feeling stuck or feeling like I was doing something wrong, not realizing that just the idea of me continuing to need steps or break things down or wanted to see every single step on the path was just a slow way of operating. And it was still like the old mindset of, prior to being conscious of everything that's happening, it was just a way to try to make myself feel secure by still needing to control everything in that way, when you can be in control and not have a clue of how things are unfolding. Like, that's still you being in control. So it's really just deciding that you don't want to make things difficult for yourself anymore. And part of that is going with the flow and just knowing that having your desire at the end of the day is the only outcome, and knowing that it there's nothing else that you need to worry about. And I think once you have enough manifestations under your belt, you'll feel confident in that and you'll really accept it. But sometimes when you're so stuck on needing to see movement or progress, you get in the way of that acceptance. That in itself holds you back. So just realize that just because you don't see something doesn't mean it's real. Because even think about it this way, you have doubts and fears, and you accept them to be true, but you can't see emotions, yet you let these feelings that you've been used to having stop you from accepting that you can get what you want. You're letting that stop you from accepting other possibilities besides your failure, which is just a mindset you used to have, not even necessarily related to who you are or what you're capable of. So the last thing I want to talk about was getting what you want is hard, or change is a hard process. Most of us are conditioned to believe that, because we think that either you can't change anything, or it takes a while for you to really accept things, or you have to go through struggle. So a lot of us who come into manifestation automatically bring those old habits of making things hard, making things a struggle when it doesn't need to be. So it's realizing you got into this to make things easier for yourself, not harder. So why would you sit there and make this process in itself of just being aware of what you've always been doing make things any different? It's really just deciding to be aware of what's happening. And that's really it. You're just recognizing what you've been doing all along, and now that you know you're doing it, it's supposed to be easy, not supposed to be hard. So I think with those things, you would just have to focus on a new self-concept of someone who's always had things easy, someone who always gets what they want, someone who just, no matter the circumstances, everything's always working out. And just have that kind of mentality, like not test yourself, but stretch your imagination to say, you know what, I know this might seem crazy, but this worked out so well for me. This was the best thing that could have happened to me. And if you keep turning the things that you used to think were blocks or limitations into something positive, you're going to start getting that effect from it. And you want to have that mentality about everything in your life, whether that's breakups, whether that's money, just no matter what it is. Just look at it as something that taught you something about yourself and taught you what you actually wanted, and then focus on what you want as if it's already done. And with enough practice, you'll start seeing everything transform effortlessly. So I think I'm going to conclude today's video here, and we'll come back tomorrow for part 3. And I just want to say thank you again for watching, and just make sure you share, comment, like, subscribe. Just spread it to anybody who you think this would motivate and inspire, and I'll see you guys in the